My name's Hugh Crichton. I'm the winemaker at Vidal Estate. Vidal Estate's based in Hawke's Bay, which is a small, relatively small region in Hawke's Bay that focus largely on growing red wines and some Chardonnay. So I've been there since about 2004. Our big focus is Syrah, Merlot Cabernet blends, as well as Chardonnay. And today we've got a couple of wines here of Syrah, which is a really big focus for us. Our vineyards for our highest quality reds are in the Gimlet Gravels, which is a pretty special sub-region within Hawke's Bay, where the soils are basically a dried up old riverbed that act as I guess sites of infertility, which make the vines struggle, and the yields are very low as well. So we're finding our best examples are from this sub-region. Basically, we've got three tiers within our company. So we have the white series, and then we have a reserve series, which is actually our mid-tier, and then we have a legacy wine. So this legacy series, which is our top tier. So this first wine is a 2010 reserve series Syrah from the Gimlet Gravels. This wine is really more about drinkability. It's certainly got some concentration behind it, which is a reflection of the lower yields in the Gimlet Gravels. And for me, this wine shows a lot of finesse. 2010 was quite an odd vintage. It was a vintage of two halves, I guess you might say. It was really wet and cool early on in the season. I remember at home after Christmas, there were mushrooms growing on the front lawn, and this is, that's the equivalent to your middle of summer, and I was thinking, hell, we're in for a tough vintage. Very moist, very cool. And then March and April, which are the critical ripening months for Syrah, were gloriously fine and settled, and I think in March we had about a quarter of the normal rainfall, and then April about a third. So we got clean fruit, which is really important. We got continued flavour ripening and tannin ripening, but then that was balanced by really lovely fresh acidity in the wines, which was a reflection of the cooler start to the year. So for me, this wine shows a lot of fragrance, a lot of perfume, which is not that untypical in Hawke's Bay Syrah, but particularly from 2010. And it's got an underlying spice to the wine, which you increasingly, well, not increasingly, but you see in slightly cooler areas of Syrah. And I think one of the hallmarks for this wine is the freshness on the palate, the acidity, and the fineness of tannin, the ripe tannin. It's not a blockbuster of a wine. It's not about that. It's just about, finesse and elegance and freshness. So I think it serves that pretty well. So the second wine we'll try is the 2009 Legacy. So this, the Legacy wines we only make in very good years and in quite restricted quantities. So it's supposed to reflect the best of what we can do in Hawke's Bay. So within this range, we just do the Chardonnay, the Syrah, and a Cabernet Merlot, or Merlot Cabernet, depending on the vintage and how strong it is. So both wine styles reflect quite heavy green harvesting, but this one in particular. So we do a lot of fruit thinning, a lot of hand canopy work in the vineyards, and both wines come from the same vineyards actually in the Gimlet Gravels. This is just certain parts within the vineyard that deliver higher quality fruit. So 2009 was a very warm year, very hot year. It was, I think arguably we've made our best wines ever, from 2009 and back. It was particularly strong for Cabernet Sauvignon because of that really long, dry summer. And there was a bit of a question mark over how well Syrah would do, but I think the key with Syrah in 2009, I think the best examples are a reflection of the growers or the winemakers who picked a little bit early, and while the wine still had, or the grapes still had freshness of acidity, which is certainly what we did here. So it's got an underlying sort of brooding character to it. There's plenty of fruit there from that lovely summer that we had. But again, it's not too heavy, it's not too big, but it's got real concentration. But like the 2010, some lovely acidity behind it. So for me, it's more of a darker, brooding, dark fruit wine than the 2010 on the aromatics. and on the palate it's got more concentration, a bit more power, but still without being big and overripe and alcoholic. I think the Reserve Series 2010 has got the ability to age for at least another 5 years, if not longer, depending on how you like your wine. If you like them young and fresh, or with more tertiary characters. I think the Legacy could go for 10 years plus. It's got the concentration, it's got the power, and it's still very fresh, and it's already 4 years old now. So they're certainly both made for cellaring, but I don't know, I think a lot of good wines can be drunk early, and it's all about balance, and it's all about ripe structure as well, and having the concentration of the fruit and the structure there to allow it to age, but having the structure that's really well integrated and not green and raw and too robust to stop you enjoying it now. So like a lot of great wines, I think they should be able to be enjoyed young, but they will cellar well.